Part 83. The vicious female supporting character's character collapsed after her voice was eavesdropped. Author, R.O. Jung Word. Chapter 821. Chapter 821. Josu really wants to kneel down. Lu Jing is really a little embarrassed when faced with such a situation. But he knew it very clearly. The more this happens, the more you should stay calm. Then he covered his face. Oh, it really hurts. I really feel like I'm going to die now. I'm really going to die. Whoa, what's going on? Why is this ambulance like this? Wait, and son, are you a little busy? If you are, then I will leave now. You are all busy people, so I won't disturb you. After saying this, he wanted to run away directly. But in this situation, if he can escape. That's the weird thing. Sun Ying rushed directly in front of Lu Jing with one quick step. Carried him over. Zhou Qi is really cruel. You can't leave like this. You call me aunt every day. I can't just sit back and do nothing. Don't worry, I, as your aunt, will definitely make the decision for you. I will definitely make the decision for you. Lu Jing. Sun Ying is really angry now. How could this guy have the guts to deceive her feelings? Haha, now that you are brave. However, Sunian approached Lu Jing, who was being grabbed by the collar with a curious look on his face. I don't know if it's an illusion. Lu Jing really feels like a pig waiting to be slaughtered. How did you get these scars? Explain to my aunt. Lu Jing laughed a few times. If I really satisfy your curiosity, aunt, can you let me go once? Sunian did not answer this question. Get started directly. I just wiped it off without thinking. It was really wiped off directly. This is really lifelike. Isn't this special effects makeup? Sunian said with some confusion. Sun Ying who was originally angry, began to look at her after hearing this. Just like that, the two women surrounded Lu Jing, rubbing their hands together. After it was confirmed, Sunian couldn't help but sigh. Young Master Lu is indeed young Master Lu. His actions are so different. He even fooled us into committing such a crime. He is really not an ordinary person. Lu Jing. Soon Zhou Qi arrived here. Zhou Qi's only mood now is regret, super regret. Why did I get out of my mind and think of cooperating with this guy? It's really crazy. If this land scene is reliable, the Sao can climb the tree. You can definitely climb a tree. It's really amazing. Madam, you have to believe me. I was threatened by this guy. I was really threatened. I can be said to be loyal to you. Lu Jing's eyes widened after hearing this. Are you so straightforward to betray your brother? You must know that the benefits given by Lu Jing are not low. Since you have paid for the benefits, you must make the benefits valuable. Lu Jing immediately said with an innocent face, and son, you know me. How could I threaten Zhou Qi? If there were any threats to Zhou Qi's mind, I wouldn't be here now. Zhou Qi. What is this? How come stupidity has become this guy's protective color? Sunian's eyes wandered over their faces. If I guessed correctly, it was Lu Jing who bribed Zhou Qi. After all, Lu Jing has no merit, except that he is rich, very rich. Lu Jing nodded seriously and immediately said, Auntie, you are really smart. You guessed my method so easily. Yes, I bribed you. Zhou Qi really wants to kneel now. This guy really went too far. I don't even know what the situation is now. Is now the time for flattery? End of this chapter. The vicious female supporting character's character collapsed after her voice was eavesdropped. Author, R.O. Jung Word. Chapter 822. Chapter 822. Josu won't make stupid mistakes. Since this is the case, then Josu is not polite. Then Josu sighed deeply. Well, since this is the case, then I can only tell the truth. These words made the three of them look over. I saw Josu saying in the sight of the three people, "Actually, I feel that my wife has been really good to me in the past few years. Now I really want to give something to my wife. I even feel that if I don't give my wife some gifts, then I really am not a human being. But I think ordinary gifts are a bit too simple and not worthy of you, so I just wanted to make some money to buy some nice gifts for you, my wife. I'm sorry, I'm really sorry, I really shouldn't be greedy, I was wrong, I really wrong. Lu Jing. How can this guy lick like this? He, how can he lick better than himself? Josu felt Lu Jing's gaze. He gave Lu Jing a disdainful look. Lu Jing. This guy is really a bit too arrogant to be so arrogant. I didn't take him seriously at all. Auntie, he is lying. He is not like that at all. If he is like this, then I will dig a hole and get in. Lu Jing's anger suddenly rose. This Josu. Even if I am unlucky, I still have to pull this guy down. Pull it down hard. Sun Ying smiled when she saw Lu Jing like this. I was angry because I was deliberately deceived by him. Why am I still angry now? After all, this Lu Jing pretended not to care, and kept saying the same thing over and over again. Such a situation is simply one where you are afraid that you cannot see the problem. Lu Jing thought that after he said this, Josu would be afraid and leave the hotel. But I didn't expect. Josu didn't panic at all when he heard this, but looked at him. Okay, Lu Jing, you said this yourself. If what I said is the truth, then you just dig a hole and get in. Josu's posture made Lu Jing a little scared. However, Lu Jing still cheered himself up a little. He really didn't believe it. I don't believe that Josu can get through this. Yes. Unless Josu is A and can conjure any so-called evidence, if Josu really has such ability, then Lu Jing has really admitted it today, and he has completely admitted it. That's what I said, Josu, I advise you to stop bragging. If you brag, the consequences will be really disastrous. But Josu still didn't care, and even patted his chest. The consequences are unimaginable. I, Josu, have been with Mr. Li for so many years. If I really want to be the kind of person who brags, what will happen to Mr. Li? Maybe let me stay with him? Absolutely not. Lu Jing sneered. Then I heard Josu say, if what I said is true, then there must have been signs before, so I am willing to post all my mobile phone search records. If there are no records, then it will prove that I am lying. If I really have a record, it can prove that I am sincere. Sunian agreed. I didn't expect, Josu really has. Lu Jing was dissatisfied. This can prove something, this can prove something, this can prove nothing. Why can't I prove it? If you really don't believe it, Mr. Lu, then you can check to see if there is a woman around me. Apart from my wife and Miss Sun, there is no other person of the opposite around me. Didn't you mean aunt and aunt's son? They only account for 2 people. How can you still say that there is no second person of the opposite at all? There is a problem in your words, so why don't you have a problem? As a person close to Li Baikan, will Josu be bothered by low-level mistakes? It's obviously impossible. Josu immediately covered his heart. That's because I don't want my wife to misunderstand me, and I don't want my wife to misunderstand my loyalty. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The vicious female supporting character's character collapsed after her voice was eavesdropped. Author, R.O. Wich Jong Word. Chapter 823. Chapter 823 Sun Ying regrets. Zhou Qi has been able to stay by Li Baikan's side for so many years. It is impossible if you don't have some skills. Compared to Lu Jing, he has been at the top of the pyramid since birth. He climbed up step by step. How could Lu Jing outplay him? Sunian and Sun Ying'er have already seen it. It's just fun. Sunian quietly leaned into Sun Ying'er's ear. I really feel like this Lu Jing is like a child now. Well, it's okay if Nian doesn't say that. If you say that, I really feel like that, but thinking about her worries, she felt that she had to teach Lu Jing a lesson. This guy actually made me worry in vain. Still pretending to be so pitiful. Such a white lotus. Sun Ying'er cleared her throat and said calmly, Lu Jing, don't you want Zhou Qi to prove it? Now that Zhou Qi has proved it, it's your turn to fulfill your promise. Fulfill his promise. How to implement this? Hearing this, Lu Jing lowered his head and looked at the ground. After staring at the carpet for a full 3 minutes, Lu Jing slowly raised his head. What, and son, this is really not that I don't want to fulfill my promise, but that under the current situation, if I really dig here, so what if something happens to you? After all, it doesn't matter what I am doing, but you two are not simple. To put it bluntly, if something really happens to you, and then that guy Li Baikan will really dig up my ancestral grave. These words successfully made Sunian and Sun Ying'er nod. Seeing the approval of two women, Lu Jing immediately breathed a sigh of relief. However, Lu Jing was not completely relieved yet. Sun Ying'er came to Lu Jing and patted his shoulder seriously. Lu Jing, you are right. The current conditions are really a bit unfair to you, but as your aunt, if I can't do this, then how can I be worthy of being your aunt? These words made Lu Jing's face stiffen. What does this mean? What? Why is there a bit of an ominous premonition? Facts have proved that Lu Jing's hunch was right. The reason why he said this was because Sun Ying'er took him to the open space downstairs. Let's start. Start. Lu Jing looked at the concrete floor. How to dig this? Well, there are no tools for this, and, can you? Lu Jing was interrupted by Sun Ying'er before he finished speaking. Tool, you didn't seem to say you wanted tools when you just said it. What's wrong? Did I remember it wrong? But even if I remembered it wrong, then I hope you can also be considerate. After all, I am a bit old. Sun Ying'er has reached this point. What else can Lu Jing do? You can only squat on the ground silently. Sun Ying'er was in a bad mood when she saw Lu Jing looking aggrieved. Let this guy fool himself. Let yourself worry. She must let this guy know the consequences. But 3 minutes later, Sun Ying'er regretted it. Why is this happening? Because this guy Lu Jing is really attractive. Everyone passing by, no, even the dogs passing by, would look at Lu Jing. As for why this is the case. After all, anyone passing by sees a man in a suit squatting on the ground, silently clasping the ground with his hands. Also, Lu Jing's appearance is actually really good. End of this chapter. The vicious female supporting character's character collapsed after her voice was eavesdropped. Author, R.O. Wich Zhang Word. Chapter 824. Chapter 824. No one has as good a brain as Lu Jing. This is the current situation. Sun Ying'er felt that she was not punishing Lu Jing. But punish yourself. After all, I am by my side. Sun Ying'er really can't stay any longer. Just wondering if I could slip away quietly. After all, she is still young, really needs a face. But she didn't expect that Sun Ying'er had just moved her body. She moved a little, and Lu Jing's voice rang out, "And son, where are you going? Do you want me no longer? You can't want me no more. I really know it's wrong. But it's better that Lu Jing didn't say this." After Lu Jing said this, Sun Ying'er really felt that there were a lot of eyes on her. Wandering around one's own body. This feeling is really uncomfortable, super uncomfortable. Sun Ying'er immediately yelled at Lu Jing, "That's enough, shut up." Lu Jing, who was yelled at, was as aggrieved as he could be. At this moment, Sun Ying'er gently hit her forehead with her hand. Damn it! Now Sun Ying'er really feels that she has stayed with this guy for too long. Infected by this guy. Even if you want to punish him, then there's no need to be embarrassed here. Thinking of this, Sun Ying'er smiled at Lu Jing. When Lu Jing saw Sun Ying'er smile, he really felt a little panicked all over. He now felt like his body was sweating like crazy. Lu Jing wanted to say something. But how could Lu Jing have a chance to speak now? 10 minutes later, the people around Lu Jing changed from Sun Ying'er to Zhou Qi. Zhou Qi's face now. He is the chief assistant of the Li group, with one person outnumbering 10,000 people. Why? Zhou Qi looked at Lu Jing sadly. Zhou Qi's resentment was so great that it really made Lu Jing a little unbearable. He immediately said angrily, "Don't look at me like this. Don't you know why we are like this?" Zhou Qi really didn't expect this guy to be able to beat him up. "Master Lu, can we be a little more conscientious when we talk? Don't you know what it means? You, Master Lu, can't even pretend. When you first thought of this idea, you really haven't you considered your own situation?" "I've thought about it, it's just an accident." Although Zhou Qi didn't know how Lu Jing actually operated, but he could still infer a little bit from their words what was going on. "You kept saying the same thing over and over again, how could you not recognize what a smart person Miss Sun is? But haven't you ever heard of saying something important 3 times, if I say it 3 times, wouldn't it be more true, wouldn't it increase the credibility?" Zhou Qi. Now Zhou Qi really wants to crack Lu Jing's brain. Open his brain and take a good look. Let's see what the so-called structure is in this guy's head. Why is this happening? I'm just a little unlucky. You know, Aunt Sun has no doubt at all. My aunt is too smart. If my aunt hadn't been around, then I would definitely have succeeded. It will definitely happen. Zhou Qi really doesn't know where he gets his confidence. After all, even if Sun Ying'er didn't react at first, she would definitely react as time goes by. You must know that not everyone has a brain as good as Lu Jing. End of this chapter. The vicious female supporting character's character collapsed after her voice was eavesdropped. Author, R.O. Wich Zhang Word. Chapter 825. Chapter 825 Men are not good things. Sunian and Sun Ying'er were watching from the side. Sun Ying'er smiled when she saw the 2 guys looking bad. There is nothing good about this man. I really agree with that sentence. Don't feel sorry for the man. If you really feel sorry for the man, then he will definitely become unfortunate. Although Sun Ying'er was in a better mood, she was still in a bad mood. Can't help but complain. Who would have thought that Lu Jing, a man with a bad mind, could actually do such a thing? It's really abominable. And Sunian thought of what someone had done for Bokaleing before, and she just felt a little softer, but she didn't think of it, so now Sunian couldn't bear it when she heard Sun Ying'er say this. Zhu said in agreement, "Sister, you are right, this man is nothing. If you really feel sorry for the man, then the man will not only not thank you, but will take advantage of you. You said that in such a situation, why should we pity?" But just when Sunian complained here, Sun Ying'er's eyes changed when she looked at her. Became ambiguous. Such a look really made Sunian feel a little embarrassed. At this moment, Sunian coughed lightly. "Sister, look at this Lu Jing. In our eyes, this Lu Jing has always been the kind of person with brain problems who looks very honest, but I didn't expect it to be like this, so we really can't be soft-hearted to men." The more Sun Ying'er looked at Sunian like this, the more interesting she became. Nian, from the moment you agreed to be my sister, I treat you as my biological sister. No matter what happens, I will be there for you as soon as possible. I said that because I think sisters must be more honest, so. Don't I think of you as my sister? Sister, you really hurt my heart a little bit like this. Why on earth is this happening? What on earth should I do so that you will feel that I regard you as my sister? Don't you know what you're doing? The two of them just looked at each other. Sunian didn't really want to tell Sun Ying-er, but wanted to hide it from Sun Ying-er. But some things are really a bit too much. If you really say it, it is indeed a bit too much. Sunian knew very well that this topic could not be discussed any longer. If this topic is really brought out, then... Sunian quickly coughed a few times. What, sister, we still have to talk about this Lu Zheng. We must take care of this Lu Zheng. After all, in our eyes, this guy Lu Jing will never lie to us. Yes, I didn't expect that such a thing would happen now. When I heard this voice, I was really a little shocked. After all, Lu Jing, a person with a brain problem, would do such a thing, so there will be more in the future. Who? Sun Ying-er didn't say anything, she just looked at him with half-smiling eyes. Such a look in his eyes really made Sunian a little unbearable. Sun Ying-er's mood really couldn't be better now. Nian, why don't you continue talking? I don't care what you think in your heart, but in my heart, I regard you as my sister, my only sister. Sunian hurriedly spoke after hearing this. Sister, what do you mean? You are my sister, why do you call me sister? End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The vicious female supporting character's character collapsed after her voice was eavesdropped. Author, R.O. Wich Jong Word. Chapter 826. Chapter 826. Sun Ying-er, she really didn't come here to eat dog food. When Sun Ying-er heard this, she smiled more and more. Do you still know that I yelled wrong? Since you want to find other topics and don't want to continue this topic, what should I do as a sister? I can only help you. After all, I am a sister. How can a sister not give in to her sister? This really makes Sunian feel ashamed. But even if I am ashamed, there is nothing I can do. Some things are really a bit. Just when Sunian was depressed, footsteps sounded behind him. The person who came was none other than Li Baikan. When Li Baikan was holding the child and preparing to approach, Sunian's complaining voice rang in his mind. Oh, this sister is really amazing. What is going on with me now? Why do I look like the kind of person with a brain problem? People just say something casually and get scammed. It's really annoying. The look in her eyes that looked like a smile but not a smile really made me feel very uncomfortable, extremely uncomfortable. Li Baikan raised his eyebrows slightly when he heard this. Why does it feel like it's a bit of a bad time? However, Li Baikan walked over anyway. What are you doing here? Sunian felt even more resentful when he heard the voice of the culprit again. Sun Ying-er felt so happy when she saw Sunian's expression. After all, she knew very well how smart Sunian was. If Sunian didn't really regard her as a sister, how could she see such an expression on his face? Having this sincerity is enough. I didn't do anything, Sunian murmured. Mo Bao, who was in Li Baikan's arms, immediately raised his head when he heard the voice. After all, he has been his mother's son all his life. He knows his mother better than anyone else. So when I heard this, I knew that my mother was in a bad mood. Who is there? He actually makes his mother feel bad. What else could Li Baikan do? He could only walk past the two women while facing them. Sunian looked like he didn't want to speak. But Sun Ying-er can say it. Sun Ying-er immediately told what happened. And after saying this, he looked at the two people with half-smiling eyes. Li Baikan also laughed. He really didn't expect Lu Jing to do such a thing. Well, in a way, Lu Jing's mind was different from what they thought. Lu Jing could do such a thing under certain circumstances. It's normal. But Li Baikan's smile has not completely ended yet. Sun Ying'er's conversation suddenly changed, but when we talk about men not being good things, Nian's opinion is still a little bit loud, but I really don't know why Nian's opinion is so big, even like there is a lot of resentment, and as a sister, seeing that my sister has such a lot of resentment, how could I do nothing? Li Baikan immediately understood why Sunian was like this. Immediately looked at Sunian. But it's better if Li Baikan doesn't watch. The more Li Baikan looked at Sunian like this, the more unhappy he became. Sister, you may have misunderstood. With me by Nian's side, how could Nian be wronged? Even if I am wronged and feel uncomfortable, I will not let Nian be wronged. You must know that Nian is your fate. How could I let anything happen to my life? Sunian. Sun Ying'er. You must know that the reason why Sun Ying'er said this was just to make fun of Sunian and Li Baikan. It would be best if you could hear things that cannot be said. But she really didn't come here to eat dog food. End of this chapter. The vicious female supporting character's character collapsed after her voice was eavesdropped. Author, R.O. Wich Jong Word. Chapter 827. Chapter 827. You can't meet amazing people when you are young. Okay, stop talking, Baikan, please stop talking. I really feel that you and I are not worthy, quite unworthy, very unworthy. The smile on Li Baikan's face grew more and more. Looked at Sunian again. Okay, Sunian is still unhappy. Still need to talk about it properly. He immediately walked to Sunian's side and said, "What's wrong? Why are you unhappy?" Mo Bao said he didn't want to see his mother unhappy. If his mother is unhappy, Mo Bao will be sad. Mo Bao nodded seriously when he heard this. Mo Bao now clearly knows that there is nothing he can do now. However, the attitude of the watch should still be expressed. As expected, Sunian immediately smiled when he saw Mo Bao nodding seriously. Immediately, he reached out and took the calligraphy treasure from Li Baikan's arms. Mo Bao, be good. Mom knows that Mo Bao is the best, but Mom still wants to have a good talk with you, Mo Bao. Mom hopes that you, Mo Bao, will become a powerful man, a responsible man, a man who will not lie, and not a glib talker man. And after Sunian said this, he glared at Li Baikan fiercely. After being stared at so hard, Li Baikan lowered his head and touched his nose. In Sunian's eyes, such behavior is a sign of guilty conscience. So Sunian felt happy immediately. Mo Bao, you are usually so smart. I think you will understand what I mean. You must become a good man. If you don't become a good man, then even if you find a wife in the future, your wife will, if you run away, there will be no place to cry. When Mo Bao heard this, how could he not realize that this was his dear mother mocking this cheap father? In this case, then be obedient. Mo Bao blinked his eyes, and then nodded seriously. Sun Ying'er's eyes suddenly lit up when she saw Mo Bao like this. This child is really a bit too smart. Mo Bao nodded just now. Mo Bao is really smart. I have never seen such a smart child. Come here and let auntie hold you. Mo Bao smiled brighter and brighter after hearing this. Such a bright expression really made Sun Ying'er confused. Sun Ying'er reached out and hugged her. This child is really a bit too smart. Nian, you look like this, I really want to have a child. It's really great. This child, Nian, other things I don't envy you for anything, but I really can't help it. You are really amazing. It's great that you can give birth to such a child. Ahem, no one is unhappy when they hear someone complimenting themselves. Especially Mo Bao is just a child. How can a child not be happy when he hears praise for himself? Just keep laughing. Sister, don't be envious, maybe your fate will come soon. When Sun Ying'er heard this, her body suddenly stiffened. But he reacted quickly. Although the time was short, Sunian still captured it. There is a saying on the internet called, "When you are young, you cannot meet someone who is too amazing." It is true that Sun Ying-er fell in love with Huo Linyuan because of the setting of the novel, but Huo Linyuan was also a very amazing light in her life and could not be ignored at all. End of this chapter. The vicious female supporting character's character collapsed after her voice was eavesdropped. Author, R.O. Wich John Word. Chapter 828. Chapter 828. Lu Jing, he seems to have remembered this Li Baikan. At this moment, Sunian wanted to say something. But before she could say anything, Lu Jing's voice sounded again. Aunt son, I was really wrong, don't treat me like this, you can give me any other punishment, and I won't say anything, but you don't treat me like this, but your juniors, can you elders really bear to see your juniors like this? This voice directly made Sun Ying-er's face change. Then Lu Jing appeared at Sun Ying-er's feet. Hold Sun Ying-er's thigh. Sun Ying-er. Don't ask, you will regret it if you ask. She really didn't understand why she felt sorry for this guy before. If this guy is really dead, the world must be a lot easier then. After all, there is only one scourge in the world. And son, I know I have done a lot of wrong things, but I am really sincere to you. I sincerely regard you as my aunt. I even thought that if it doesn't work, then I will provide you with care until the end of your life. Lu Jing felt that he was also the eldest son of the Lu family. $100 billion CEO. At any rate, you have to pay attention to the cards. If it really continues, it would be a bit embarrassing. So Lu Jing felt that he had to think of something. Generally, when this happens, his little head will start to work. Men, don't pay attention to the so-called face. Rather, we must pay attention to advancing when it is time to advance, and retreating directly when it is time to retreat. This is also called giving and receiving. Lu Jing, get up. If you don't forgive me, then I won't get up, even if I beat you to death, woo woo woo. Then she heard Sun Ying-er say with gritted teeth, Lu Jing, what do you mean by that? Do you really think I won't do something to you? If I want to kill you, it will take just a minute. Things. I know, of course I know, and I hope you can kill me now. After all, if you really kill me, you will definitely be happy in your heart. After all, as a junior, I can't watch my elders feel uncomfortable here. It's not good here. Sunian, who was standing next to him, really couldn't stand it when he saw this posture. Hand walked over to them immediately, and squatted down and patted him on the shoulder. Well, I think I really need to remind you that although you keep calling me aunt, my sister is younger than you, so she is senior, and you always treat a woman like this. Tell me, you will really get beaten in this way, you will get beaten every minute. When Lu Jing finished speaking, the air suddenly solidified. Lu Jing looked at Li Baikan. Asked Li Baikan with his eyes, what do you mean? Why don't you take good care of your woman? You have to do this. But Li Baikan didn't seem to see it. It's just a big disregard. After all, as a good husband, the most important thing is to listen to your wife. And this little girl from home has been having problems with herself during this period. If she doesn't have eyes anymore, wouldn't she be in trouble? How could Li Baikan make such a simple mistake? Lu Jing snorted coldly when he saw Li Baikan like this. He has remembered this Li Baikan. Okay, if you don't help yourself now, you will never need your help if you have the ability. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The vicious female supporting character's character collapsed after her voice was eavesdropped. Author, R.O. Wich John Word. Chapter 829. Chapter 829. Is there really such a funny show? Sun Yan smiled when he saw Lu Jing's expression. But after laughing, Lu Jing's expression became increasingly sad. Sun Yan couldn't stand the sad look in his eyes. She cleared her throat before speaking. What is your expression? As your aunt, how could I harm you? I am clearly reminding you that you are always like this. How could my sister not be angry? Auntie, if you want to trick me, just say it directly. You may not know how I feel about you. I really want to support you until you die. I am such an honest person, and it is because of my sincerity. So I have suffered a lot of losses over the years. Lu Jing snorted in his heart after saying this. Do you really think you are a fool? If you really follow her words, you will be a fool. Doesn't it seem like the dignified eldest young master of the Lu family will only be influenced by one woman? Humph, how could he, Lu Jing, let such a thing happen? Absolutely not. Others don't know what they think, but Mo Bao was really speechless when he heard this. What's happening here? Is there anyone else grabbing this? Mo Bao looked at Lu Jing. He still knew a little bit about this Lu Jing in his previous life. Lu Jing will do whatever Huo Linyuan says. In the end, it was annexed by the Huo family. In the process, having caused many stumbling blocks for myself. Some tricks took a lot of effort to crack. Is this Lu Jing now really that Lu Jing? Sun Yan was speechless when faced with Lu Jing like this. What on earth is this guy thinking? Lu Jing can say such things. Who can give birth to such a person? No, I still feel that I should stay away from Lu Jing in this life. After all, what if Mo Bao learns bad things from this person if this continues? No, absolutely not. Li Baikan also felt that he must pay attention to this. He hugged Mo Bao and left. Sun Yan couldn't help but look at Sun Ying'er next to her. Sister, did you see that even if you don't get married or have children in this life, you won't be afraid anymore? Sister, are you happy or not? When Sun Yan said this, he walked to Sun Ying'er's side and gently pushed Sun Ying'er with his arm. When Sun Ying'er heard this, she snorted coldly. Lu Jing, you really moved me like this. It moved me so much that I didn't know what to say, but have you ever thought about it? What if you die before me? Lu Jing. Sun Ying'er's expression became more and more fierce. For example, now, I will kill you directly. Lu Jing looked at Sun Ying'er and wondered why he felt that Sun Ying'er really wanted to kill him. This made Lu Jing suddenly feel a little uneasy. The next moment, Sun Ying'er burst out laughing. She originally wanted to put on a good show. But now, there is really no way to pretend it. This Lu Jing is really funny. She now seriously suspected that this Lu Jing just wanted to laugh himself to death. As long as you laugh yourself to death, you can take care of yourself until you die. Lu Jing is really poisonous. Very poisonous. Sun Ying'er covered her stomach when she laughed. Lu Jing was originally relieved when he saw Sun Ying'er smile, but Sun Ying'er smiled like this for too long, and it was really unbearable. Is he really that funny? End of this chapter. The vicious female supporting character's character collapsed after her voice was eavesdropped. Author, R.O. Wich John Word. Chapter 830. Chapter 830. Josu feels that his brain is really useful. At this time, Zhou Qi silently disappeared. He thought, if he had no sense of existence, so there is no need to deduct wages. Zhou Qi feels that his brain is easy to use. But just when Zhou Qi was thinking so happily, Mr. Li stood in front of him. Zhou Qi, it's so lively now. Why does Mr. Li still remember such a little shrimp like himself? This, how can I say this? It can only prove that Mr. Li is powerful. Mr. Li is extremely powerful. Just like that, Li Baikan took the person aside. Zhou Qi said directly and honestly, Mr. Li, I know I was wrong. I understand what you mean. Do you think that with Lu Jing's behavior, he would never do anything excessive, and you can still get any so-called benefits. After hearing this, Jochi immediately shook his head. No, no, Mr. Li, I definitely don't mean that. I just think that Lu Jing is just playing with his wife and Miss Sun, and based on the relationship between his wife and Miss Sun, how could they not see the true situation of Mr. Lu, and I am still watching, so there will definitely be no accidents. Although Li Baikan guessed it right, how could Jochi admit it? Absolutely not admit it. If he admits that he really took Lu Jing's money, then it's really over. In addition, Lu Jing didn't have time to give him the money before. So in a way, he really didn't give any money. Li Baikan didn't say anything, but there was a smile on his face. Just a simple smile. But Jochi felt cold all over his body. It was at this time that Jochi realized that he might have stayed with Sunian for too long, only joking around every day, so he had forgotten Li Baikan's tricks. How could he get away with it in front of Li Baikan? Now he really regrets it? Regret should not be like this. The situation we are facing now is, if he admits it, he will not only deceive Sunian, but also deceive Li Baikan. This is a big no-no. After all, no one in power wants to have someone with different ideas around him. Even at this moment, Li Baikan was holding the child. There is no difference between him and an ordinary nanny. But the terrifying aura on him cannot be described in words. What are you doing here? A gentle voice suddenly broke the atmosphere. Li Baikan looked at Sunian, who was walking over, and his aura suddenly disappeared. Now he only has an aura as warm as the spring breeze. Why are you hiding here? I ask you. Why didn't you say anything? I just didn't pay attention and you left. If you didn't know better, you would have thought you didn't want me. How can you think so? Li Baikan frowned. Why can't I think so? Sunian said this and looked at Jochi. Jochi, are you sure you still want to watch me quarreling with your Mr. Li here? If you really want to watch, then I don't have any opinion either. Jochi is also a smart person. After hearing this, I immediately understood what it meant. I immediately said, okay, madam, and left in a hurry. While walking, Jochi was really about to cry. Sure enough, the pillow wind is really powerful. Jochi really feels like the luckiest person in the world now. However, he also feels that he will do better in the future. Moreover, Jochi really feels that if he really coaxes Sunian to get better in the future, he really doesn't know how much benefit it will bring. End of this chapter.